Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with another Tau deck guide. We are seriously flowing thick and fast with the Tau this season. Obviously, that was the main faction to receive some buffs, so I wanted to return to them in full force. If you've not seen my Warshaper build or my Battlesuits decks, go back and check out the channel. They're my more recent videos, so they should be easy to find. So what are we doing today? We're looking at Aun'va today, and I wanted to test a few of the new units that have, I say new units, more recently buffed units. I'm calling this Aun'Va Greatness because we are making use of the Inspired to Greatness build. Now, this build has, to be honest, has probably been one of the more powerful sort of archetypes of the Tau in recent months, and it's kind of just got a bit of an upgrade. Sometimes it's referred to as a good stuff build. It's kind of an evolution of the infantry deck because like not all the infantry is good, and so you start to bring in other pieces, and by the time you finish, it's not like just a specific infantry deck. It's actually, like I said, more of a good stuff type of build. So really what we're doing is we're playing a kind of mid-range type of build, which has a few nice combos, not least with Aun'Va's ability to get the Storm of Fire if we want to threaten range. And yeah, it's got good removal. It's in the form of like flankers, and it's just a very good sort of tempo deck. So let's dive in. Now, as I said, Aun'Va obviously gives that flexibility. He can heal units, but he can also give you access to shields and Storm of Fire and things like that. And that flexibility is very, very good. We'll talk about some of the combos as we go, but we are trying out a single copy of the Fire Warrior. I was running 2 copies, but I realised that like playing it on 2 is not good still, but playing it on 3 with the hero with Aun'Va's power, making it 3 health, that's often decent, and it goes really well with some of the tricks that we've got as well. So we run the Greater Good, of course. Now I've got double Inspired to Greatness. I'm thinking of this card a little bit like a sort of a Dark Pact from Chaos. Now, saying that, most people still don't run, Abaddon's Chosen, which essentially gives you a gift for only 1 energy. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of still a bit pricey. I wouldn't say this is a tier 1 buff stratagem, but it's certainly playable now. Like it's that tier 2 to 3 level, and it gives you some alternatives, some tricks, some things that your opponent might not necessarily be accounting for. And also I like that it is give +2 health. It's like you can go above just your like a heal only heals like up to your max amount of health, whereas this gives +2 health. So it's pretty good. And I suppose the other thing, if we were comparing it to a Dark Pact, is the fact that 2 range in Tau, obviously it's kind of significant when you start to think about when you think about Markerlight. That's what I was thinking of, Markerlight. So Markerlight, obviously, +2, and then having access to doing more damage than just the 2 is actually huge. So this combo is really nice with the Fire Warrior. It also got 2 missile drones, and it combos really nicely with that. We've got double Pathfinder, still a great card. We've got the Darkstrider, we've got the stealth drones. Now the DS8 turrets, when I first started, I didn't run these. I actually ran double Fire Warrior Breacher, which is now a pretty decent card. Again, this card can benefit from things like Markerlight to get even better stats, but it's a really solidly statted card now, the Breacher, so I really like it. However, I did realise that the DS8 is still pretty crucial, and especially as we're not running things like the AoE stratagems and stuff. I think the DS8 is still important. So I've ended up going with 2 DS8s and just 1 Breacher. We've got the Emergency Dispensation. We got double Vespid for that flank, all-important flank, and also, Vespids being flyers and with armor. These are really good with Aun'Va, right? Because every time you put 1 point of health on a unit like this, it just becomes more annoying. Double Krootox Rider in the 4 slots. I'm not bothering with the stealth battlesuits anymore. I don't think we need them, to be honest. I actually think the Krootox Riders are really good. You could run the new 4-drop... what's it called? The 4-drop... why is it evading me? Crisis Bodyguard. This has recently been buffed, and to be honest, this is the next card I really want to try in there. I think maybe running one of these in here somewhere would make sense potentially too, because the 4-drop slot is a little bit thin. So I do think that could be a potential weakness in the curve. So definitely worth trying. But I am running another Vanguard in the Chassis. I really like this card now. I think the stats are really credible, and you can stick this down and it's going to trade well pretty much into anything. I've got a single Devilfish. I was started with 2, but then I realised that the Devilfish, because of the power creep of the game, it's not that great to just play vanilla on 5 anymore. I think you really want to be using this in combo, and it's still excellent in this deck with that, especially when we're running things like Fire Warrior with long range, right? Like being able to bring something on, or a missile drone and get the kind of little mini AoE blast. So yeah, definitely still love the Devilfish, but I think one of them is enough, and just play it for the combo. And then we got Firesight Marksman. I think again I was a little bit unsure on kind of like what I wanted to do with with the 5-drop slots, and that's why I ended up going with sort of one of each. The Marksman, in my opinion, stops you from having to play double Rampager, because you can almost think of it as another removal tool, right? So that's kind of the layout I'd gone with. And then I've gone with a Flesh Shaper. This card is obviously just an alternative win-con, really. It's a pretty decently statted unit. It's scary for your opponent, and it can buff your Aun'va so that it becomes even more prolific. Aun'Shi, not much to need saying really with Aun'Shi. That -1 is huge, and especially when you're talking about things like Battlesuit, then the next turn, following that up so that the drones can be played for free. And then we've got a Krootox Rampager, just a single one for some hard removal, and Longstrike, obviously they're big hard removals. And then we've got the Lone Spears as really solid infantry late game, giving us a bit more AoE, because we're not running the AoE strats, so I think things like the Lone Spears and the missile drones and the DS8 are what enable us to deal with sort of go wide boards. So yeah, as I said, there's a few things you could do in there to tweak, but overall I'm pretty happy with that. I did try some of the other 2-drop stratagems, things like the Recon Assault, but I feel like with Aun'Va you don't need them, because obviously Aun'Va's got access to Storm of Fire. So when you need that kind of go wide, when you got that go wide board and you need that reach, you've already got it with Aun'Va. So as good as those 2-drop strats are, I think they're less necessary, perhaps is a good way of putting it, in a deck like Aun'Va, like this. Alright, so let's have a look. Alright, so let's jump into some matches. So you can see here, we basically just dropped the Marksman, kept everything else. He went ahead and picked the Solar Eclipse. Nothing much happening on turn 1, standard sort of heal stuff from both sides. Then we drop our missile drone, 2-drop. But unfortunately for us, he does have the flying flanker, and is able to deal with that quite easily. So this looks like a nice Vespid. We just actually decided to slow play a little bit here and just take the extra damage with Aun'Va. So we saved the Vespid. And now, of course, obviously we've got pretty good combos set up with a cheap Devilfish. We've got a way of flanking our infantry. Nice. So he drops down the Primus Reaver, and we're going to go ahead and use the Stingwings plus a heal here. Always a nice target for the heal from Aun'Va, I think. Anything with armor is, you're kind of doubling the value of it, really. Now, where's the ping going to hit from the Stern Guard? It hits face. We are getting a little bit low quite quickly. Definitely have to watch that. Now we're going to use the gun rig here, and we're actually going to keep the Vespid alive. And we're just going to drop the Honoured Ethereal. Now, because most of the high health stuff in the deck usually has Vanguard or Flank, I've actually decided to cut the Honoured Ethereal. This was one of my most recent cuts from the deck. And I think I actually put in a second Lone Spear for that. Originally I was just running a single one. So down comes Aun'va, clear the board. And he actually goes with the Assault Doctrine. The discounted Assault Doctrine. So we are, this stage, it's like looking pretty dangerous for us. So we decide it's time to get some stealth down, and this combination is just so nice, right? When you've got Aun'va down, then playing this out, playing these all out for free, and I feel like we can even go ahead and drop the Fire Warrior and just heal here, because I feel like the Fire Warrior is pretty safe. And we'll do the 6 damage to face whilst the shield's up as well. Okay, so he's found the second Assault Doctrine. So we are facing a serious King Kong Titus here. No problem taking out the Enforcer. Just trying to put down as many blockers as we can. Use that long range from the Fire Warrior. And we're going to put the Inspired on a Devilfish here, just to create another really tough blocker for us. Just don't want him using flankers to take out blockers so that the Titus can obviously hit face. I think he realises we're saving up Storm of Fires, and he's going to be dead next turn. GG. Erika. So I usually like the Disrupted Sanctuary against Sisters, because even though it hurts us, I feel like it hurts them more, right? Probably should have hit here. I think you've got to play as the beatdown against Erika. I still don't like hitting with Aun'va needlessly, because you often need to take like bigger trades with Aun'va more than any other Warlord, and that's because you are often making use of things like Markalite, and that means you might be hitting slightly bigger units than you normally would hit. Can we get away with playing this here? This could be a bad move, right? Because normally... Yeah, forgot about that as well. Normally this is very, very good against sisters, so using it in this way is not great. And that definitely wasn't great. So I guess what we could do here... just kind of ping this. It's still worth doing this, doing our power, right? Because we get +2 heal and then we only lose 1 damage. Interesting. I do like the Retributor. Just don't often see it played. The same again, we get +2 and then lose 1 for this play. So it's worth doing. Fury of the Righteousness. Oh, that was clever. Really trying to make use of the Disrupted Sanctuary there. Yeah, really clever. So I think what we should do here is... do you know what? I'm just gonna... I don't care if it dies. Which it doesn't anyway. I think I'm gonna do this. It's awkward for him because he can't. He still hasn't got. He's still only got 1 damage from his hero power, so he has to attack again. Can't pray. Glad to see this card being played more again. I do think that's a really good card that players haven't really made best use of just yet. Okay, what's the play here? I think the play is we drop this. And I think we drop these. Suffering from quite a bit of lag at the minute. And I think we bank a Storm of Fire here. Okay. Now if we just take this out with this, as opposed to trying to use Longstrike here. What we can do... Ah. So if we do just do this. And then just do this. And this. This in theory should set us up for lethal, right? This should be pretty difficult for him to do anything about. Yeah. I know it wasn't like the optimal board, like use of mana for, like, obviously we had better units you could play. I was just trying to think, how can I set up the best guaranteed board for Storm of Fire, essentially. From one sister to another. So we're just going to heal. So again, I think it's worth doing this. Do we want a Pathfinder here? We can stop him praying, and then we can still stealth up the marker. Actually, there was a risk there, right? Because the one could have hit that. But only a 25% chance of that happening. I think that might have been better than the Krootox Rider play, but I'm not sure. Oh, he doesn't kill the stealth suit. What's that all about? So I think we do this. And then we do this. And then we do this, because it's like we buy 3 points of health, lose 1. Kind of happy with that. So he's only got 2 faith points, so there's no flank on these guys. This is not what the... definitely not what the tile player wants to see, for sure. So I think what we can do here is kill this. So I actually think what we're going to do is play this onto here. Heal it back up, because I like getting the heal on the armoured unit, right? Saintly deeds of the fallen. I mean, we can just... We could actually shield this, or we could put armor on everything. Let's do it this way instead. Okay, so we finally get some faith points. Okay, we'll just chill. Put on Variant Stealth. Stealth drone's getting a bit juicy. Titus. Okay, that's one way to get rid of it. Storm of Fire for the finish. And that's the threat with Aun'Va, right? It's the good thing about this deck is you've always got that finisher built in. It really is one of the major advantages that I feel like Aun'Va has, to be honest. Just make sure we got this disabled. We haven't played a bot, but I don't want to have any.
You will embrace the Calgar or be destroyed. Nothing can compare to the judgment of the
It is oh, should have hit there. That was a mistake. In this matchup, you do want to hit. It is actually a bad matchup for the Fire Warrior because he's got the 1 energy ping. Still, you know, we make him use it and we stop him agendering, so no 3-drops, no Librarian if he does it. And actually, if he wanted to play Librarian, this turn does really mess up the Librarian. This is one of the things I don't think people think about enough when they calculate the value of a unit, right? I mean, obviously you can make the argument, well, we could have played any 3-drop and achieve the same thing. But you do have to think about the disruptability, if that's a word. Do I want to play? I almost want to play this, maybe. Not seen a flank yet, have we? This trades really nicely into a Black Knight. Oh, of course he's got that one. Wow. Wow. Okay, this really hurts, but kind of just got to do it.
all that we do is for the greater good.
Yeah, I really didn't think about that flanker. It's the one that a lot of players don't run. Although now maybe it's correct to run now with some of the recent nerfs. Okay. 2 for 1 here. So we have drawn out 3 flankers. And these units we're playing generally trading well into his flankers anyway, right? Aha. Got a really nice play here, right? We can play the Stingwings over here for 4 damage flank. We can play this guy here and then we can just heal everything. And then we can just clear and clear and go face. Now it is turn 7, so you know what? This could be a Deadly Hunter's turn, although it's 3 4-drops. It's not the end of the world, right? It would take 2 to clear this. Here we go. I think I'll take that Deadly Hunters, honestly. I really think I'll take that. Okay, he wanted to get rid of that. Fair enough. Now we could play this out and heal, right? And that would be a good play, except for Samael. Samael would be a blowout for us. Or we could just do this. And then we could do this. Then we could do this. So that we can do this. And then we could do this. as we've seen the Deadly Hunters. You hope at this stage of the game he hasn't drawn the AoE card, the secret. So, wait, so 2, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 12, I think. I think this is it, right? Yep, we got him. Nice. So there we go, guys. If you want to actually try some of these new buffs in the Fire Warrior, the Inspired to Greatness, things like the Shasui, the Fire Warrior Breacher, then this can work really well. I wondered whether I saved a game that was showing off some of the Fire Warrior combos. I feel like I did. Let me see if this is it. Just to show you if this is what I'm thinking. Just to show you kind of like some of the stuff you can do with a Fire Warrior. So no, we just went Missile Drone, Heal. It's winding on a little bit, guys. See what we're doing though, we're playing our units, we're healing them. Double Support Turret and Recon Sweep. Okay, this is when we had Recon Sweep in the deck. I still think Recon Sweep is probably a better 2E buff, to be honest. It still adds something, whereas the Priority Target one, I don't feel you'd need to run that with Aun'va, because obviously you've got Storm of Fire, but you can see how that stun there really helps when you've got this type of board set up. So it's pretty nice. You can just melt. Look how we've just melted him here. Okay, so this wasn't an example with the Fire Warrior, but it was a good example of what the deck can do. So what I'm going to do now, guys, just to finish, is if we take the deck, if we take this deck and we just make a copy. Okay. Now, as I said, I built this wanting to test the new cards, right? But if we weren't necessarily bothered about that and we just wanted to know like how does this sort of style of play, this kind of Aun'va tricks style of play work, I would probably say, as I said, I think Inspired to Greatness is good, but I don't think it's great. It should be Inspired to Goodness. So I still think that probably the Recon Sweeps would beat those out. So if we were just cutting down to, as I say, not worried about the new cards at all, I do think we would want to put in something around the 4-drop spot. I think we'd want to put the new... Yeah, let's put those in. Where are they? The Crisis Bodyguards. I think you'd play these, and then you could run the Recon. That was the other one, wasn't it? Recon. You should run the Recon Sweep. And then I think... Yeah, and then you know, the question would be, now that you've added more Vanguard in the 4-drop slot, do you need the Breacher in the 3-drop. Although if you drop the Fire Warrior and then you drop the Breacher as well, you are dropping quite a bit from the early game. But you could arguably drop the Breacher and put the second Recon Sweep in, and then what you'd have is this. And again, you're not making as much use of some of those newer things, but would this be better? Arguably. So yeah, that's the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments what you think. Hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.